Hey guys, Garth197 again. This time with a review of the 160 scale, big scale, Char's Zaku 2 from the original Gundam series. And of course, as you've probably noticed already, this is the old model from the 1980s and not the perfect grade. You're probably wondering to yourselves, how could an old model like this possibly be any good? Well, you might just be surprised. Starting off with the colors, this kit does not require any painting at all, with the exception of the heat hawk, which is molded in all red. So you get the dark burgundy for the body. You get very dark gray around the body here, the kneecaps, and for part of his elbow, also for the Zaku machine gun inside here. And then you get the salmony red for all the rest. And then you get one sticker for the mono eye. Oh yeah, and you might be thinking that, hey, it does require a little bit of painting, like a few gray touch-ups on the joints, but no, this is the old school thing. So the hands are supposed to be red, and even the joints are supposed to be red as well. So it doesn't require any painting at all, with the exception of the heat hawk. So we're off to a great start. On to articulation, and the head goes a little bit left and right. Fortunately, it doesn't go up and down or anything else. And the arms, this is what I was surprised by the most. For starters, this spike shield here is actually molded together with the upper arm, but goes up all the way like that. And that's even more than some of the slightly more modern Zakus can't even do. Well, the older modern Zakus. And the other arm goes up about that far, then turns around below the shoulder all the way, bends at one joint for not quite 90 degrees, then the hands are on pegs, so they will rotate around, but that's all they do. No waist articulation, but it's a Zaku, we couldn't really expect that. Not even a modern Zakus have problems with that, so no way this guy was going to do it. Then the legs, unfortunately no skirt movement at all, so the legs are seriously hindered to go out about that far, backwards about that far, but they do go out a little bit, and surprise surprise, also rotate around a little bit. Then the knees are just single joint, go up not quite all that much, and the feet go forwards nicely like so, and backwards a little bit like that. So for today's standard, the articulation is pretty crappy, but for back in the day, this was some really awesome articulation. Then on to accessories, and let's start off with the most surprising feature of this model. Because when you remove the backpack, it reveals a battery pack. Could this kit possibly have a light-up mono eye? Yes and no. While we do get the battery pack, including the metal contacts, they decided not to give us the LED. Isn't that just fantastic? And I'm not quite sure if we're supposed to buy the LED as a separate set, or if we're literally supposed to go to a hardware store and buy a 3-volt LED. I think we're supposed to do that and then hook it up yourself. So it will require quite a lot more work than wiring up a perfect grade. Because I think we're literally just supposed to go to a hardware store, because I've never seen any. It seems like just a generic LED you have to install. But thanks to the sticker we of course get, it's not that big of a deal. I do find it a little bit unfortunate that they do give you the battery pack, but not the LED. It's just, seriously, all we need to get the eye to light up now is an LED and a wire. They couldn't include that? Come on. But yeah, on with the other accessories. Like I've already shown, the heat hawk here, and it suffers from the age-old problem. Oh. Ah, there we go. The age-old problem the Zaku can't really hold it unless you are really, really lucky. Like so, if you force it a little bit, but then the second you touch it, it falls down. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. You might want to like have a little tape around here or on the inside there to give it a better fit. And get a peg here, a hole on this side of the side skirt, and you push it in there. Oof, that didn't sound too good. Yeah, you push it in there, and now it's in there really securely, not gonna fall out, and a lot better fit than in the hand. Next up, you get a few extra hands. You get one nice open palm hand. Let's quickly pull this out. Unfortunately, he can't really salute, which is something I was kind of hoping for, but it looks a bit too high and a bit too far away. What you can use it for is make it look like the pilot just came out of the cockpit. The pilot in this case, of course, being Char. And yeah, you do get a nice little figure, which is actually really nicely detailed. I would go as far as to say that the detail on this is actually on par with the earlier master grades from like the mid-90s, the late 90s. So yeah, for 82, that's a really good job. And you also get a little base to put him on. Of course, I haven't glued him yet because, well, I'm gonna wait until I someday paint him. And then you can, of course, put him on there and make it look like he just hopped out of his mobile suit. Next up, you also get a trigger finger hand, which of course goes with the Zaku machine gun. You have a nice moving handle here. It's a bit on the floppy side, but not too bad. So let's pop out this hand. Once again, put in the holding hand here. Then we pull this out. Oh yeah, in the meantime, I just want to make sure, probably seen it, but the shoulder armor moves on a peg. Goes forwards, backwards, nicely like so. Then we just grab the trigger finger hand, put it on there. I haven't glued it yet because, yeah, I want to be sure that like, if I someday wanted to give him another weapon, that I can do it. As you can see, the peg is actually molded in two pieces. So once you put it in there, it will actually be able to hold the weapon without any problem whatsoever. And as you can see, when you're just holding it, it goes a bit off to the right or to the left, but you can hold it really nicely. And then stretch the other arm, move the hand around a little bit, and he can hold it kinda with both hands. Unfortunately, like I said, those are all the accessories you get. We don't get a bazooka or anything else, which is really the only problem I have with this kit that does not have to do anything with the age. But hey, for its price, it's still okay. And one final thing I totally forgot to mention is that this kit actually comes with polycaps. Almost all major joints have polycaps with the exception of the head. So yeah, really nice. So polycaps were used quite a lot earlier than some people might think, because this is a kit from 1982, so this is when they actually started using polycaps. So even though it's an old kit, it does have some modern aspects to it. So, as always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And it has everything to do with the way this model looks. Because of course this is a very, very retro looking mobile suit. And it's also a bit on the thin side, so it's kind of like Char put his Zaku on a diet. But yeah, if you like the way this model looks, it's definitely worth a purchase. It's like 2,000 yen, and for that price, a 160 scale, you can't beat that. Also, even though it's an old model, doesn't require any painting at all, of course, you will have to glue it together. And yeah, because it's an old kit, some parts might not really fit together all that well. And by that I mean, the gluing itself isn't a problem, but when you're like trying to line up two parts, while the front might be good and the back might be slightly off. Like for example here, if you can see that, or you can probably hear it. So yeah, the parts don't always line up all that well, but I don't think that's really that big of a problem if you're just a casual builder. So yeah, if you like the way this looks, it's a great deal for 2,000 yen. Also, it's really fun to see how model kits have evolved over time. Because, yeah, of course this is and also for old kits, this is definitely the best old kit out there. If you buy like the 144 scales that originally came out in 79, those aren't nearly as good as this guy. So yeah, I can totally recommend it. And let's face it, the painting isn't really going to be much of a the gluing isn't going to be much of a problem, because when you're making plastic models, you probably have a tube of glue hanging around somewhere. And it's not all that much of a problem unless you hit the pot of glue, falls over, and messes up your desk. Which I totally didn't do with this model, honestly. So yeah, let's do a quick comparison. Here we have the 1/48 scale mega size Char Zaku, and man, these kits look worlds apart, even though they're supposed to be the same guy. Wow, the difference is gigantic. You really see the more retro look of the old Char and the much more modern look of the mega size. And on to another 160 scale, and you'll also see that they did a pretty good job with the size. Here you have the 160 scale Strike Gundam, which should be about the same height, and as you can see, the height is pretty nice. So they really did a good job with Char Zaku 2 here. And like I said before, this is definitely one of the best old kits I have built ever. Then finally, here he is with the Wing Zero, a slightly smaller model suit. So yeah, they really did a good job with the size. And oh, one final thing I have to point out is, with the commander antenna, if for some reason you would want to make the MS-06C Char Zaku custom, well, for the antenna, you actually just get the two halves that you slap together, and then you have to hollow the thing out where the antenna goes into, because you'll see there's like a thin plastic covering up where the antenna should go. So if you want to make it a normal Zaku, not a Commander Zaku, you can actually do that. So it's really nice that they give you the option, and also I gotta say, it's not that hard to remove. It's really easy to remove with just a hobby knife. So that's all for this very retro review, very surprising retro review, and see you at the next one.